because at the start of the season, supporters were saying, you know, even former players, if he doesn't do it, this is it. He's got to go. And I'm thinking maybe I'm a little bit soft, a little bit sort of understanding because of the level of competition. And he's done an unbelievable job. Now he's getting sort of question marks asked about whether it's his style of play, are they doing enough, are they game management? But he's right there. So at this moment now, he'd take it, obviously leading all day long. What I feel like he's always needed is a bit of a gap. Rather than really, really close. And that pressure game in April against City at the Etihad, he'll be a lot more comfortable today, I am sure.
What about that game against Brighton? They did the dirty work, didn't they? Is that sort of performance, does it matter? It's a winning one. Is that a title-winning performance, do you see, from that side?
I think we can look at title-winning teams. We could say about Manchester United with Fergie time, where they just kept grinding out results, whether it be a clean sheet, whether it be a find a way to win, to get through it. You go in that dressing room afterwards and ask him whether was it a performance that wasn't really us. We needed to do better. Of course they had to do better. Of course they had to have more control and create more. But that is something that he's finding a greater determination in his team. Different ways of winning, goalkeeper staying down, bending the rules, game management, etc.
Where do you stand on that time wasting? Is it good?
I would never have done anything like that. Obviously,
I can't imagine.
I would never have bent the rules or got into trouble in any way, as you know. But of course, listen, I made decisions that weren't right. But the time wasting, whether it's the right arm, whether it's the left arm, I think this is a step too far. I think that's a lot of people have that. And some people would say when you go too far, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes it could come back and haunt you slightly. But they're in a great position. I think he's managed to keep that fight. He's got that determined look about him. Whether he goes a little bit too far at times, whether it be in the technical area, with officials, he just wants to get this over the line, and then it will change him. He'll be a better person for it. He'll always have that fire, Mikel Arteta, and I think I really think he's done an unbelievable job to turn Arsenal. They've spent a lot of money for certain, but a lot of supporters are still critical. We all want to win. We all have to deliver at some point. That's why we're in the business, and maybe it's his year. But that guy next to him, I think, as we know, finds different solutions, changed his system again. So having the two strikers, split strikers in different ways, even moving Erling Haaland out of a number 9 into a split with two, just occupying that back line of defensive units to create more in the middle. Again, we're seeing something different from Pep Guardiola, and if he was to deliver the title or a Champions League win, we've seen something special again from him, from a team as well that haven't necessarily got the full resources that they had before to win titles, the weaker in certain positions. Great recruitment in the window we've seen with Antoine Semenyo and Mark Guéhi. But yeah, it's all for Arsenal to lose now.
Is that what we witnessed throughout his career? Just absolute genius from Pep Guardiola, because we listen to managers, especially today. A lot of the press conferences coming through, and managers saying that they're not playing the way that I want them to play. But he just finds a way to win games, doesn't he? He changes things up all the time.
Well, he does, and do you know when he first come to this country, you would say we total football. And then we'll say it was amazing, and then it changes the goalkeeper, and we have to build, we have to do that, we have to find a formula to go. Then we're seeing midfielders going playing full-back. Then we're seeing sort of bounce passes and drawing people in. Then we'll say City later on in games holding it in the corner for long periods, going direct. You can't play short for the last 20 minutes. We've seen different midfielders coming off the line. We've seen City winning a league without a natural number 9, with a false 9. He's done everything. He's delivered. He's found a way to sort of divert away from some of his beliefs to find a formula, and he's doing that again now. And when you say about different managers, different coaches, the person who's ahead of him at this moment in time learned everything from Pep Guardiola. And by the way, Mikel was there from morning till noon, right till the end of the day, the last one to leave in that training ground at CFA, learning, realising how to be a better coach. Even the players will tell you from Manchester City how hard he's worked to get into this position before he's even gone into his Arsenal tenure. So someone for me looking and saying what he's gone and done and watched and waited. He deserves this opportunity, do you know, because he's learned from the best in Pep Guardiola. So many coaches now are following, and it's going to be a sad day. It's coming soon, isn't it, where Pep Guardiola is going to leave us. And then what will we talk about of the great Pep Guardiola of his different styles? And Mikel Arteta could maybe find it a little bit easier, but he's not finished yet. I think that's the point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And just with Arsenal in particular, how tough is it for them at the moment? Because they are fighting on all four fronts. I mean, obviously, they've got to meet them, haven't they, in that Carabao Cup final, which could actually...
We're waiting for the Champions League as well, but that's gone away.
Yeah.
But the Cup final is coming as well. And they're going to be great encounters because they know each other so well, and both managers or coaches are being able to adapt and change. So in game changes, whether they go man to man, whether they go high press, they all now seem to have the other answer quite quickly to change. And that's where when you're watching it, it's fascinating. And sometimes it's not always clear what we're seeing, but they both react. And that's why it's not always clean or as fluid as you would expect. But they're going to be great games. I'm looking forward to them, working on both of them. So it's special football matches. But what Arsenal have done now, I think at the start of the season when we looked and we said the strength and depth, their recruitment, their bench, the players behind, the choices that Mikel's got is so much stronger than it was. And that's what's been able to look on all fronts. And I feel like they've had that experience. Last season I fancied them in the Champions League to go on and win it. They're in a great position.
They win the Premier League, don't they?
Do they?
I'm just asking.
I can't argue with you. There's only two there. That's just gone away. It's gone tight. I think it was all the way, wasn't it? And I wanted that. I wanted to see that game at the Etihad where it was in the balance, where everything was riding on it, and it still could come back. But I think because of the they got their game in quite quick. You look with Arsenal, but City's game against Palace now might not be rearranged for later.
Yes,
we might see the twist of that coming to light. We need to get to that. Pep Guardiola's got to win every single game. He's got to beat Arsenal. And then Mikel Arteta, they're just scraping through, aren't they? They're just getting the results.
So who did you say was going to win again?
Yeah, I was saying it's really in the balance still, and I'm still waiting. But yeah, I'm hoping Manchester City find the answer. But you know what? And former Spurs player, not necessarily was saying, you know, it's a rivals in Spurs for Arsenal to go and do it, but not necessarily, you know, for Mikel Arteta, for what I've watched the journey and watch him fight and watch what he's done. You know, I think he's been a revelation. I think he's done a fantastic job, changed ways, whether it be the total football, following Pep, now being hard to beat in a different way. So he would deserve it.
He would deserve it, he says.
I'm thinking of the Arsenal team in the previous 2 decades. Since the great sides, they've been accused of being that team. They would roll over, they'd go to Crouchy Stoke or something like that. But not this team. And they're miles away from that now. They are out-stoking teams when they need to. Then they're out-playing them. I think they're a top side. I've always backed them for the title. And, yes, unfortunately, you don't say it too loudly around here, but I think it's in there.
Right. He's allowed to think whatever he wants. And Arsenal did waste a record amount of time for their standards yesterday. It's football, man. Like, listen.
Where do people grab these statistics from? How does someone know?
I don't know, but it's like out there with like official stats. So like, I'm not making it up. It's not like an aggregator account or a fan account that's trying to knock Arsenal. Listen, I'm curious to hear what you guys want to say because I'm trying to balance this out from a non-Arsenal perspective.
Who's Arsenal? I'm
Are Arsenal?
No, I've never supported them in my life.
What are you talking about?
Are Arsenal fun to watch at this point? As a neutral, no. Does it matter to Arsenal fans? Absolutely not. It's not their prerogative to entertain us. Their prerogative is to win the Premier League, win some sort of major title, right? In the Champions League and the Premier League. And where I sympathize, at least, I come from at least my understanding, my football philosophy, if you will, win at any cost. Not at all costs, at any cost. Do what you can. And if muddying up the game and making it dirty and getting down into a dogfight and ugly 1-0s is your most tangible way to a title,
Well,
then
you got.
I think the first one we need to do is applaud a manager who understood in terms of the direction the league was going. Because let's be honest, Pep Guardiola has dominated this league for the better part of a decade, right? Has showcased a style of football that has revolutionised the way that we look at it. Teams weren't playing out from the back the way that they were. Goalkeepers weren't involved in the way that they were. They weren't making extra players, the midfielders being an extra man in both in defence and now being able to progress between the lines. Before Pep came, bought what was a prototype in Spain and brought it to England and made it the standard. Now I watch League One, I watch League Two, and I'm seeing players that haven't got the ability to do so, trying to play that way. So you could do one of two things in sport. And I always say this, right? I cover 3 sports. I cover basketball, I cover boxing, I cover football. When you go into any fight as a boxer, I can fight you at your game or I can fight you at my game. And how Mikel Arteta, who is someone who's been in that camp, said, okay, I could sit here and I could try to build a team the Pep way and try to beat him at his own game, which he has mastered, or I could revolutionise football and take in a completely different direction. And I think even Pep has made adjustments on what he's seen from Mikel Arteta. I heard an incredible quotation this week. Set pieces have now become a part of the game the same way that the NBA had to revolutionise when the three-point line was done. It's because football changes, football evolves. Yeah. And to reflect on what you said, as much as we want to sit here and talk about Arsenal's time wasting and their management, I can promise you there's a whole bunch of Italian managers from the 90s when Serie A was the dominant league across Europe. That is sitting at home smiling, saying that was incredible game management for a game that could have been incredibly difficult. Away at Brighton, this is the same Brighton team that's taken 4 points off City this year. Away at Brighton has historically been a difficult game in the Premier League, and they went there and they managed it in the best way they could. They took the crowd out of the game, they managed the expectations, and they put themselves in the positions to be successful. As far as I'm concerned, that's what champions do.
He said, similar things to that in the post-match interview. We'll come on to the time wasting and a few other bits later. Just to come on to City, look, they went ahead twice at home. They just couldn't win. What do you make of them this season?
I think they're just off the level that they have. We've seen recently. We've become so accustomed to seeing such a fluid Manchester City machine, and I just think they're just a little bit off it. And you know what? I think they'd probably be, if it wasn't for Arsenal being so dominant this season, they would still lift the title. But I just think they've come up against a better team and club and squad this year. And they're like, you get results like last night, which we're not used to seeing. If City go ahead, normally they put the game to bed and they just control things. But they're not this year, and I think the difference of players, they've had a good transfer window. That's made a big difference. That's let them have a little charge at Arsenal. But I think last night was a key result in dropping 2 points where they probably can't catch them now. Yeah,
look, they still have that game in hand. It might not get played until May. Where do you stand on games in hand versus points on the board?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? It depends what side of where you are. If you've got the game that could ultimately catch you up, but I think you'd probably rather have the points in the bag. I would when I was playing. You'd say, well, we've got those points, and you hope for the other team to not win that game. But as long as you're in control of the situation, so as long as you've put yourself in a position where it doesn't matter about the game in hand. I mean, Arsenal and Manchester City have still got to play each other, so that's going to still be a massive game. But Arsenal are now thinking, OK, well, if we win all our games, we win the league, and that's the position that you want to be in.
As you say, right, the two sides face each other in the Carabao Cup final in 2 weeks' time, then again in the league in mid-April. How do you see these games playing out? A lot of pundits have said that Carabao Cup game, who wins that, will win the league. Do you agree with that?
Not necessarily, because I think it's a one-off. A cup final's a one-off. With that being said, it might lead into the league game, but I can't see it. They're two separate games. One of them's a cup final where winner takes all on that day, and Manchester City could win, or any of the two teams could win the league game and still not go on and take it all. So I think they're two different games. It makes it interesting that these two teams that we're watching so closely are going to play each other in the final. But I wouldn't have it down as whoever wins the final wins the second game that's in the league. I think it's two different games.
OK. Well, look, next up for Arsenal, it's Everton at the Emirates.
You mentioned the word revolution. I don't think, or I'm not seeing signs in the way that Arsenal's playing that it's a revolution. What Pep offers has changed football. It changed football in Spain. It changed football in Germany. He's come to the Prem and he's changed football.
Can I just respond to your point really quickly as to why it is? Because never in my life have I seen statistics about set pieces from goal in regards to a team. I've never seen statistics halfway through a season about a team, the amount of goals they scored from open play. I've never seen statistics about anyone talking about squad depth as if squads have never been built before.
Listen, I don't think the set piece component
you don't think people are calling this team set